Hi guys, it's Ian here from Ginger Ninja FPV. Just wanted to do a quick review. I just want to start off by giving a big shout out to one of my friends, Foxeer RC, who's given me this item to review. He's got his own YouTube channel. If you go and check that out, it's Foxeer-RC. Does a load of great reviews on his channel, and he's just asked me to review this item for him. Okay then, so the item in question is the new Foxeer TM25 Pigtail. Now it's not the switcher variety, it's just a normal 25mm, which is going to be acceptable for sort of doing race meets. Of course, we're all supposed to be using the 25mm standard anyway, by law. Now what's interesting about this is obviously it's already got the pigtail connected to it. So what normally happens is that you have a standard VTX, which is this one, which is the old TM25mm, and you'll get your aerial, and you'd either put the aerial straight onto the connector and screw it in, or you would have a pigtail in between and then mount the pigtail through your frame. Now, mounting the aerial like this in your quad and having the aerial sticking out the back in some sort of fashion is all well and good, but you get heavy impacts, and more often than not this happens. So this is my old 200mm, went through a gate, clipped the aerial on the gate, and it's just ripped the actual SMA connector straight off the board. No messing about. Now these are easily fixed, we can just solder that back onto there. In this case I think I'll get away with it, but in some cases what actually happens is it rips the pads off the board, and you can no longer solder to the pads, so it renders the VTX absolutely useless. So it's interesting the fact now that they're coming out with pigtail VTXs. I think they're a good idea. So what would happen is we'd mount the VTX however we want in the quad, and then this nut system here, you would push this through the carbon through a hole and then clamp it using the nut, and then your aerial would go on top. So I think it's an absolute great idea. I'm not quite sure how sort of well the actual pigtail is going to adhere to the board, but it does look very, very heavily soldered. And plus, I suppose if the aerial's being knocked about and the sort of carbon's in the way here, the actual stress isn't going to be taken onto this pigtail, it's going to be taken through onto the carbon. So we should be okay. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to mount this in one of my old quads, just so you can see what it looks like mounted, and then hopefully I'm going to do some power tests on it and see what the power output is. Interestingly enough, I do have, like I say, the old TM25mm. So I've just had a quick look on the back, and I can see that some of the actual circuitry, I don't know if you can see this, is actually different. So we've got this piece here, it's missing, a few other changes on the board. So there are subtle differences between these two VTXs. So I'm going to test the power output of both of them and compare and contrast. Okay, I'll go on for this into my quad. Okay then guys, so I've been away and I've managed to fit this VTX into my old top plate of my TSX. Now this fits in this quad quite nicely. As standard, the TSX comes with a hole already cut out for the pigtail. So obviously if you've got a quad that doesn't, you need to drill a hole for this to fit through. But it fits quite nicely. In this case, the VTX is designed to sort of be cable tied through these holes to the top plate. I mean, it wouldn't have much purchase on this one because the pigtail is kind of short. I think I prefer the pigtail a little bit longer, then I could sort of route it round whichever way I wanted it to go. But as it is, I mean, it'll do the job. The wire becomes a little bit contort, but I don't think that's a major issue. So I'd opt for either velcroing or sticky sided tape this in, and I think that'll be fine. It'll be protected, obviously it'd sit like that in flight, so it'll be protected under there. I've powered this VTX up. The image quality that you get out of it is as good as any other VTX out there, as you'd kind of expect. It's quite easy to use using the single push button, which is sort of prominent now on all these VTXs, so there's no dip switches to mess around with to change your channel. I've also done the power output settings of this VTX and also the old 25 milliwatt. Now, interestingly enough, I used this VTX at Western Park this year, and I was struggling with video using this VTX. So I actually swapped this out for another 25 milliwatt VTX. Now, the power output settings, first of all, for this, the old TM25, anywhere between 12 and 18 depending on the channel, so that's 12 and 18 milliwatts, so that's quite low. For a low permissible 25 milliwatts, I expect it to be somewhere around the 25 milliwatts at least, so that probably explains why I was losing video so much. Now I've compared this against the new TM25 Pigtail, and this is coming out anywhere between 30 to 40 milliwatts depending on what channel you're on. Now that might seem quite high, but to be fair, I mean, as a 25 milliwatt, I'm sort of happy that it's above rather than below, so I might get a little bit more range out of it. And when you go to sort of race meets, nobody's sort of checking your milliwatt output. They just look at the VTX and make sure it's got 25 milliwatt written on it at the moment. That may change going forward, but currently I'll be happy enough to race with this VTX in events that call for the 25 milliwatt, because I know that I'm going to be at least a little bit above that, but I don't think I'm anywhere near above to start bleeding over onto other people's channels. So I'm quite happy with that. Overall, I'm quite happy with the VTX. I'm going to use this next week in an up and coming race event that I've got. If I find any problems with it, I'll report them back. But no, I think it's quite good VTX for around about the £20 mark.